Yeah, it is an ellipse. You're correct. But that's good. You had it down. You knew it wasn't a parabola. You knew it wasn't a hyperbola. And then, yeah, at the end, you just check 16 and 1, so it's going to be an ellipse. So we know, guys, we're graphing some kind of ellipse. But do we know, ladies and gentlemen, from this form, does it tell us where the center is or what the major or minor axis is? Does this tell us what any of those things what any of those things are right now? At this point, we do not know, so we need to do something very similar to what we did there. Okay, so previous problem, same thing. So step one, let's gather the x's and y's. Gather the x's and y's. We'll move the constant over just like before. Let me just do that now. Minus 132, minus 132. We subtract 132 from both sides. Now, here's something new. This is the last new thing. If possible, take out the GCF, greatest common factor. You didn't have one to take out the previous problem. So we'll just say, if possible. If possible. If possible. And someone asked a good question. It's a little bit misleading. I shouldn't actually say GCF because when I mean GCF, I mean just the number only, not the x, because you could always take out an x. I mean number only. So more like greatest common factor, not including the variables, just the coefficient part. Coefficient only. Okay, so let's take a look at that then. Let's gather our x's and y's. So let me do that in one step here. So 16x squared and 96x. Let's gather those. 16x squared. Let's do it in two steps. 16x squared plus 96x. You don't need to put your blank yet. I'll show you why in a minute. Gather your y's. Gather your y's plus y squared minus 4y. And then move the constant over. We already moved him over. So subtract 132 from both sides. There we are. Okay, we're not done yet with that step. That's like a halfway step. Okay, any questions there? So by GCF, I mean I want to take out this common term. So I can actually take out what is the biggest number that 16 and 96 share. They share a 2, they share a 4, do they share an 8? They do. Do they share 16? Does 16 go into 96? Maybe. Let's try it. 16 times 5. 16 times 5 is, let's see, 60 plus 30, that's 80. 16 times 6. What's 16 times 6? Try it. 16 times 6. Just do it in your head. 10 times 6 is 60. 6 times 6 is 36. Does that give me 96? Yeah, so it looks like I can take it out of both. I can take a 16 out of both. So go ahead and factor out the 16. 16 times x squared plus, we said 16 times 6 gives us 96. Now put your blank. Okay, now put your blank. Okay, plus y squared minus 4y. Go ahead and put your blank here. All equals negative 132. Okay, we factored out the GCF. Now I want you guys, once you finish copying that down, just go ahead and take 30 seconds, fill in this blank here. Make sure you can do this. Half it and square it. Complete the square right there. Okay, let's take a look here just for the halving and squaring it part. So, Snifrit, right here, what goes in this? If we take 6, Snifrit, and we half it and square it, what number do I put right there? 9. Good. 9. All right. And then for this one, Nancy, if I half it and square it, what's negative 4? If I half it and square it, what goes in this blank right here? Yep, positive 4, right? You half it, negative 2, square negative 2, you get positive 4. So first off, I can add the 4 here. I'm going to add the 4 to both sides. I'm going to add this 4 here because I added 4. Now the question is, 9 is wrong. 9 is wrong. Who could raise hand and tell me why 9 is wrong? I didn't actually add 9 to both sides. Debbie, what do you think? Exactly. Think about this, guys. If you redistribute this, you don't have 1x squared. How many x squareds do you have on this left-hand side? You have 16 of them. You don't have 6 x's. You have 96 x's. So you did not just add a 9 here. You didn't add 9 ones. You added 16 times 9. Let's figure out what that is. 16 times 9. You guys know what that is? 9 times 6, 54. All right, and 9 times 1, 9, 144. You added 144 ones. Okay, so you really added 16 times 9, 16 times 9, which is 144. So if you added 144 here, don't forget to add 144 here. That's a little bit tricky. If you added 144 on the left-hand side, don't forget to add 144 on the right-hand side. Okay, let's keep marching. Any questions right there? Step 2, I forgot to write it. We already did step 2. Oops. Step 2 was to complete the square. Complete the square. We already did that. So last step, step 3, factor. Factor and divide. Factor and divide. Step 3. So let's factor this, guys. Let's multiply this. So we've got a, let me just do it right here, a 9 and a 6. John, what two numbers multiply by 9 after 6? 3 and 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 plus 3 is 6. So that's going to be 16, don't forget about the 16, times x plus 3 times x plus 3. X plus 3 times x plus 3, or x plus 3 squared. Plus, everyone go ahead and take 10 seconds, factor this right here. 2, exactly. Good, so we get y minus 2 times y minus 2, or y minus 2 squared, equals, now let's just figure this out, 144 plus 4 is 148, negative 132 plus 148, so just think 48 minus 32. 48 minus 32 is 16. And here's where your good question just came in. Our last step here, it's an ellipse. It's an ellipse, so we want to make this into a 1. So, Alondra, how can I make this into a 1? What can I do to both sides to make this into a 1? Fantastic. Divide everything by 16. Divide this by 16. And here's where you see the 16 makes a difference. It's going to influence what this number becomes. So this number, this becomes a 1. 16 becomes a 1. If we divide this by 16, divide this by 16, we get a 1 here. So x plus 3 squared over 1 plus y minus 2 squared over 16 equals 1. We have finally reached our goal. We have put it into standard form of an ellipse. We know it's an ellipse from the very beginning. Our center is going to be negative 3 comma 2. All right, our major axis is going to be the y. So therefore, our a is the bigger one, right? 16, a squared is 16. So our a is going to equal square root of 16, which is 4. No problem. And our b equals square root of 1, which is 1. So let's go ahead and graph this ellipse. Go ahead and start at negative 3, 2. Go ahead and start at negative 3, 2. Go over here. Negative 3, 2. Negative 3, 1, 2, 3, up 2. There it is. Negative 3, 2. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to go 4 in the y direction. 4 in the y direction. 4 up and 4 down from the center. 4 up, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 down, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 up, 4 down. Then we're going to go 1 in the x direction. 1 left, 1 right. 1 left, 1 right. There is our ellipse, stretched towards the y-axis. Y is our major axis. Hyperbola is correct. There's a minus sign. We know it's a hyperbola, so we'll graph it like that at the end. All right. So first step 1, let's gather the x's and y's. Let's go ahead and do that. Gather your x's, gather your y's. 25x squared plus 50x. Gather your y's. It's just this one. And then finally kick that constant over to the other side. Kick that constant over to the other side. Okay. I want to see how many of you guys can do this next step. Okay. So I can take this out, the 25. So I have x squared plus, Stephanie, 25 times what gives me back to 50? 2. So x squared plus 2x plus blank minus 4y squared equals 75. Okay, let's fill in this blank. So Anna on this side of me, towards me, if I half it and square it, what do I put right here? What number goes in the blank, Anna? 1. Very good. Half it and square it. But I do not put a 1 here because, Anna, if I redistribute, what number did I really add over here, Anna? 25. You really added a 25. Excellent. Who was able to remember that? Who added 25 to both sides? About 7 or 8 of us? Okay. If you forgot, that's okay. Just practice it. All right, step 2, we finished that. Step 3, factor it and solves. Or factor it and divide it out, excuse me. So let's factor this. Again, you don't need to draw the x, but if it helps you to see, all right, that would be a positive 1 because it adds up to 2. So it's going to be x plus 1 times x plus 1, or x plus 1 squared, minus 4y squared equals 75 plus 25, which is 100. All right, any questions there? Last step, we divide both sides by 100 in order to make a 1. Divide by 100, divide by 100, divide by 100. So this gives us, let's see, if we divide both numerator and denominator by 25, divide this, that gives you a 1. And what's 100 divided by 25? 4. Okay, let's do the same thing here. Let's divide top and bottom by 4. 4 over 4 makes a 1. What's 100 divided by 4? 25. And of course this is a 1. So we get x plus 1 squared over 4 minus y squared over 25 equals 1. We have just changed it into the standard form of hyperbola. Our center is going to be negative 1 comma, what's the y coordinate? 0. Okay? Now here, be very careful, guys. Our a, which one is our a? Is it the bigger one, or is it the one in front for our hyperbola? It is the positive one. It's the one that's positive. It's not this one. Our a is 2. That's okay if it's the smaller one. Our b is 5. That's perfectly fine for a hyperbola. Go ahead and graph the center, negative 1, 0. Graph the center, negative 1, 0. Negative 1, 0. Go ahead and graph your a. You're going to go 2 in the x direction. 2 left, 2 right. 2 left, 1, 2. 2 right, 1, 2. 2 left, 2 right. Go ahead and do 5 up, 5 down. 5 in the y, 5 up, 5 down. From the center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, go ahead and draw your central box. It's a hyperbola. It's not an ellipse. Go ahead and draw your box. We don't have a straight edge today, so just try to freehand this as best as possible. Corner to corner. That's your asymptote. Not a very good one by me. Kind of does a little curving action there. Ooh, not so good. That. Draw your asymptotes. And finally, guys, does it open up towards the x or the y direction? It's opening up towards the x. The major axis, your transverse axis, is the x. So it's going to go like this. It is a hyperbola. It's a hyperbola. Remember, the positive one always goes in the front, ladies and gentlemen. Who goes in the front in this particular problem? Who is my positive squared term? The y. This is kind of weird, but just go ahead and put the y in front. Put the y in front. Group your x's. Kick this guy out. See if you can finish the rest of this problem. So, let me just do this out for us. Y squared minus 25 times x squared plus, that's going to be a 4x plus blank. Ladies and gentlemen, half its square. What goes in that blank? What's half of 4? 2 squared is 4. This is not a 4 though. What is 4 times negative 25? It is negative 100, not positive. So to finish this up, x plus 2 times x plus 2 equals 125 minus 100, that's 25. Divide everything by 25, you get y squared over 25 minus x plus 2 squared over 1 equals 1. All right.